Used to want people to love me, so I learned how to sing. Then I thought I wanted money, so I could buy a nice thing. When I found it, was as empty as could be. And now I'm staring at my face above a bathroom sink.
Good morning, family friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's getting warm. It was a beautiful morning here. I was planning on going out to the garden and doing some work out there because the breeze is quite lovely. The humidity is starting to pick up though, so I better get at it. I've got to have Thor here on his leash again. Unfortunately, he's been venturing across the road a little bit too much, and we still have these dump trucks running up and down the roads. And so we lost our Charlie to a dump truck a few years ago, and I certainly don't want his fate to be the same. So we are training him now with the flags. I don't know if that will, we can pick up the flags here. So we're kind of teaching him his boundaries of where he's allowed to go and flag training him. He's on about day 3. He's doing pretty good, but he knows when he doesn't have his beeping collar on, and then he pushes the boundaries a little bit. But for now, it's working. So he stays with me pretty much. Lots of slag in this leash, which is kind of what I need. He's not pulling me, he's staying close to me. The ponds are starting to get pretty full. They look great, but we've had so much rain here in the last little while. It looks so pretty, but yeah, we've had a lot of rain. I'm just tucked in out of the sun here. Anyways, I'm just noticing that this year in the garden, it has been a little different for me. I've been trying to get out there for a couple of weeks and do this big task, which is tie up my tomatoes, because we've had so much rain and there's so much moisture and the airflow is just not great on them. And unfortunately, I've had a very busy life and I just haven't been able to get at it. So I need to get at it now because it's just, they're a hot mess. But that being said, I found myself not really enjoying being in the garden as much this year. It's been challenging getting out there and doing the work. Even so, I go early morning hours, and because it's so dewy and it's been so damp, the bugs are out like as early as 6 o'clock, and then I go in the late evening when the sun has gone down a little bit, and they're just as bad. So sometimes the only time I can be out there is during the high heat, and it's hard because of course it's just the humidity has now started to pick up. So I'm trying to pick my battles. I'm trying to just discover what is the ebbs and flows of the garden and trying to find my love for it and get as much food out of it this year as I can. So let's go do some work. I'm just going to give you a quick tour around this jungle. They're doing really well, but the weeds. The problem with so much rain, right, is the weeds, but it's been lovely not having to water as often, but man, can't stay ahead of these things. These are my pepper plants, my jalapenos, but there's this bindweed. It just is strangling them out. If I don't get in here and get this stuff out of here, problematic for these roots. These pepper plants are a little bit puny. There's something therapeutic about weeding. I'm not going to do that for you guys today. This is my brambling raspberry bush. And pretty much finished up. There's not much left in here. We've been harvesting what we can in the mornings. Some garden blessings each morning. There's a few. My blueberries, they're doing well. Those are yummy. Oh, that was a sour one. They're mostly sweet, but that one was sour. Ooh, that'll wake up the taste buds. With that weed. All right. Well, the problem is here. As you can see, these tomatoes are sitting, they're gonna come, but they're sitting on the ground. And if I leave them there, they are going to be food for the critters. And I do not want that. So look at these tomatoes are gonna continue to keep going, and if I don't get them tied up, they're gonna not be very harvestable. And it's literally blazing heat out here, and the bugs are crazy. This whole row here is some Yukon Golds that I had in my cupboard that I just planted just to see what would happen. That was this row here. Did really well. And then this row here is the seed potatoes. They're clearly doing much better. Curious to know what this is though. Must be the seeds. This is the exciting part about being a new gardener, is just fascinated at how these things grow. So I didn't really know that seed potatoes, these look like tomatoes. This is some collard greens here that I have been harvesting off of, and growing some more weeds. I believe this stuff is amaranth. Oh, that poor squash has seen better days. This one's doing okay. Not great. Even though we've had lots of water, and the soil's not dry, but it's just really hot. Look at that crazy. You can still find beauty in the chaos, right? This one's starting to set fruit too. We'll get those up off the ground. I got a blushing tomato here.
Light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Nice. Yellow Tom. Holy smokes. So there's a pollinator. Sorry, buddy. Do your work. Zoom in enough on him. Oh, ha. I just pulled this out thinking it was a weed, but you know what? That was my volunteer cilantro from last year. As soon as I pulled it out, I could smell it. Oh, that's disappointing. I have to use that up in a dish. It smells so good. I planted these sunflowers here, and get a little bud there. But I planted them above my kale. But I didn't think my kale was going to come in. But look at this majestic beauty. Don't you just think? They just make me smile. I think this variety was called Teddy Bear, I believe. And this is some dinosaur kale, some purple kale. It's not been doing so hot. It's been so hot. So, oh, I love the smell of cilantro. Do you like cilantro? I don't know. Some people it's either you love it or you hate it, but I love it. High heat and the mosquitoes are still bugging me. My cucumbers did nothing this year. I topped all of my garden off last year with horse manure, and I thought this year I would have had great success, but it goes to show you the gardener is the best medicine for the garden. I have not been giving her the attention she needs and she deserves, and it's evident. Got one little pepper, tiny little pepper. Look at that itty bitty baby. That's all I've got. It's just this carpet stuff. This is the issue with weeding. I've literally been not just strangling out the flowers. And I just did this row. You gotta stay on top of the weeding, but I don't know how to do that and still live a busy life. I got my first romaine out of the garden the other day. I don't know if this red lettuce has gone bitter or if it's still usable. It's not bitter yet. Totally usable. Yum. Good stuff. My daughter-in-law had suggested that I start a fire there in that pit area and just see if the smoldering of the grasses help with keeping the mosquitoes away. I'm not sure if it'll work. I thought I had a good gangbusters. This one's doing okay. It's kind of going out here, but this is why I planted my squash all along here so they could use this garden here to come out. But they've got the powdery mildew. It may still set some fruit, but this is my wild asparagus. It's going crazy and gives me a nice harvest in the early spring. Seeds that it'll be letting off. This is my spaghetti squash. I got some pollinators in here. It's another volunteer sunflower. I didn't plant that one. My chives. Everything in there is just a brambling mess. pulling these weeds and maybe just starting fresh. I don't know what I want to do. Overwhelmed by this space, and maybe that's just it. Maybe I just planted too much and just became overwhelming. I do love being in this garden. I'm going to work on those 2 rows of the tomatoes anyways right now. Get a little bit done anyway. But I need to go get my snips and my garden gloves because I do not want that tomato tar on my hands today. Let's go to work.
Little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
All right, so I just sprayed. This is the garlic spray that I just got in hopes that that might help with some of the mosquitoes. And I'll let you know. I'm gonna just work away here in this row and see if this makes a difference with the mosquitoes.
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
All right, so we got 1 plant down and several more to go. As I was doing this work, it made me think of a quote that I love. The mind is the garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. I found myself last year here in the garden too, having a hard year. Just a lot of personal stuff going on. My mom had a pretty severe medical emergency. Last year, she very unexpectedly had to have, sadly, her leg amputated. And that kind of took me out of the garden for last year, for most of the season. I did harvest quite a bit. I didn't put up as much food as I did the year before. And this year, I just am having a really hard time getting any sort of real good growth on anything. Probably because I'm not weeding the garden the way that it needs to be, and the weeds are taking over a lot of the nutrients in the soil. But I think that the message I'm giving myself today, and many of you, if you're in that season of struggle in the garden, is to give yourself some grace and do what you can when you can. My poor petunia, it was looking so pretty earlier in the season. I think it's ready for the compost pile now. This is what happens when you leave a tomato for too long. It will start to throw off some more roots and then start to literally grow across the ground. So I've definitely let this one go a little too long. You can see that entire vine was rooting itself up into the ground. So, and there's absolutely zero airflow getting in there. So those fruit probably wouldn't be worth very much. They'll probably get ravaged by insects and or disease. This is a worthwhile task. All this to do. So, and it's very hot out here. Throw you on a time lapse. Hopefully make some order of this chaos.
Morning light, starry nights. There's so much good in the world. Happy songs, sing along. These are the things I'm thankful for. Skipping stones, feeling known. The click of my key in the door. Summer rain on window panes. These are the things I'm thankful for. I would know just
All right, so I am all finished up. I just literally did these 5 plants. I cut up most of all of the leaves that were touching the ground that could get diseased. I did try to keep it to the 1 liter, like the one vine that was coming out and then breaking off into 2. So I tried to do as much as I could without shocking it too much. This plant here, I took quite a bit off, so I'm hoping that it'll come back and that I didn't just kill these plants. But I'm gonna do a little experiment because I'm gonna leave these ones here because this one here has already got some blushing. Got my first tomato. I think I might even just take that off because it's starting to split. No, these are cherries. I think these are called the 1000s. But I'm going to go ahead and just leave these. They look really healthy. There's not much yellowing. The leaves are really good. I'm going to go ahead and leave these just brambling like the hot mess they are. And then try to see whether or not these ones, I did just give these a shot as some fertilizer. I just use this stuff here. After a massive trimming like that, these plants will likely go into shock for a few days. And then hopefully they will start to set some new fruit, set some new blossoms. That little task that I just did in this blazing heat, I have to call it quits. If you've come to this channel as a means of education, I think you might have come to the wrong one. You might want to move on. But if you've come here just more for some humor and what not to do, I certainly can be your gal. I'm a hot mess learning. I noticed the first year that I did attempt the garden, this is my 4th attempt at a garden. My first 2 years I had huge success, like an amount of food that I'd never seen before, so I had to learn how to preserve and can and do all the things, and it was a lot, but it was a lot of fun too. Frank and I used to come out here every morning and drink our coffee and just sit and enjoy the morning musings out here, and we haven't been doing that. So even just, by doing that and grabbing a few weeds here and there, trying to stay ahead of it is the way to go, because when you leave it for even just a few days, I'm giving myself some grace for doing the best I can in the season I'm in. It's hot. I'm gonna go have a shower. We are having family over today to have a pool party, which I'm really excited about, and Grandma and Papa are heading back to the East Coast here next week, so we just kind of wanted to gather everybody and just enjoy some pool fun and some barbecue. So I have to hit the showers. I got to get cooking some food. That is the plan for today. But I have some saboteurs in my garden, and her name is Sky. And look at her, innocent little girl over here. I just said earlier in this vlog how good my squash was doing. What'd you do? Did you eat my squash? She literally pulled it right out of the ground. And it was one of my healthiest, strongest plants. She couldn't pull at the weeds. Right off that edge. It was brambling all the way over there. Oh, well. I was going to show you what I was tying up my trees with, or my tomatoes with. It's just a rubber-coated wire that it doesn't cut into the actual stems. But the first year I used it, I cut up an old t-shirt, and that worked well. I saw this at the dollar store the other day, so I grabbed some knowing that I had to do this task, so I think it was like $1. My garden saboteur. I replanted some beans here. I had in here on my trellis, which was gonna be beautiful and nice and full, but I had sweet peas in here, and she pulled them out. Like, she was totally just ripped them out, and she was mowing down on these. And then I realized, or I just learned, that sweet peas are dangerous for any four-legged creatures. That's why a lot of people don't plant them in their gardens if they have animals. So I ended up having to pull them out, and I've started some new seeds in here and see if I can get a nice fall trellis. We'll see. But isn't that sunflower beautiful? Let's see if I've got anything in here. Oh, look at there's a garden blessing. I have potatoes. Look at that. Nice. Not a total waste this year, guys. Nice, nice. Oh, there's a baby potato. It's like digging for gold. I think it's fun. If you have any comments that you'd like to share on how to keep a gardener motivated and keep them in the frame of mind of just getting the work done, or if letting them bramble like this is okay. I know that the airflow is important for a healthy plant, but I don't know if sometimes we beat ourselves up as far as being perfect. It is, my garden right now is a hot mess, but there's still some beauty in it, like that sunflower I see right there behind me. Yeah, so if you have any comments and encouraging words, I ask you to throw them down in the comments. Thanks so much. It worked, but oh my gosh, that garlic spray did work, but man, did I smell like a garlic bulb, because when I sprayed it, the wind shifted and I walked right into it. I couldn't stand myself for a little while, so I need to go shower. It's kind of stinky. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna go head in the house, take my tomato and my potatoes up into the house and get ready for my guest this afternoon. So until next time, stay safe and keep living.
Comes all the instructions from all the professional crocheters. You need to be flat. You need to be flat. Dad, what's the next one after this one? Wait, Grandma's girl?
We can
No, you're not. No!
and finding out what love is for. Open spaces, fireplaces. These are the things I'm thankful for. I would know just what to say if you asked me what my favorite is. Of all of the wonder in all of the world, you're at the top of my list. It's how you keep showing me